Back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. I guess there are other things to talk about with the Vikings, but I really just want to start the show by admitting that I hit rock bottom in my career yesterday. That's Sunday, covering the Vikings-Bears game. I know.
That's a low.
I know. People think I've hit a lot of lows, but this is my personal low. I covered an NFL playoff team getting ready to go in the playoffs, and I got blown off by a kicker.
What?
I got blown off by a kicker. I've been blown off by great players for many years. Our Hall of Fames are filled with players who blew me off.
Yes.
Many times.
Right.
Some of them mentioned that in their acceptance speeches. I got blown off by a kicker yesterday. A kicker who made all 4 of his field goals and made $1 million bonus blew me off yesterday.
He said, "I'm not talking."
He had his clothes delivered to him in the training room and went out the back. Dan Bailey.
Wow. That is
it was bizarre, and I'm not mentioning to really actually hammer Dan Bailey.
No, yeah, but
but it was like the best day of his life,
right?
Yeah. He makes he makes pressure kicks. They were pressure because the game was close, also because he had $1 million bonus on the line. And your colleague Chad Graff and Dane Mizutani and I are standing there thinking, we're not going to get blown off by a kicker, are we? I said, that'll never happen. And it happened. All right, on to bigger things. I just want to make fun of myself there. This is the Viking Update Show. He's John Krawczynski from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. We are going to talk about the playoffs. Finally, now we know what the deal is. Vikings will play at New Orleans on Sunday. I just got back from a mini vacation in New Orleans. There were Teddy Bridgewater T-shirts everywhere. It was kind of cool to see. And it's probably the worst stadium in the NFL and probably the best atmosphere in the NFL.
Oh, it's amazing. Like I still, I still remember watching the 2009 title game there, and just how, I grew up in the Metrodome, right? And that's the loudest place I've ever been in my life. And I think that, I know this might be sacrilegious, but I think it was a little louder there.
It was louder.
And the press box shakes when they score. It is unbelievable, the atmosphere. So that'll be a fun one to be in the middle of, because they put on a party down there like no other town, and they love their Saints, and so it should be rocking.
I have a very distinct memory of 2009 that I'll share, and then we'll get into some current events here. This is, again, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. Please follow us on Twitter, TalkNorthPod. You'll see some new shows showing up there soon, and we already have a new one, which is the Gopher Insider with Marcus Fuller and Ryan James, that is hitting heavy on basketball right now, but we'll touch on all the Gopher sports, including the bowl game. And thank you to our sponsors, Twill in the United Galleria, twillmn.com, and Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. So I've gotten to cover a lot of World Series, a lot of Final Fours, a lot of Super Bowls, local playoff teams. I've never had quite the experience I had covering that game. And if you remember, they had that song, was it Get Crunk?
Yeah, yep.
I've never seen a game operations song played where everyone in the stadium reacted to it. Because let's face it, the problem with game operations playing music is no matter what you play, you're going to turn off half the people in the stadium. Yeah.
Yep.
The players on the sideline, the Saints coaching staff, all the fans actually swayed in unison to that song when it came on. It was just stunning to be there. This press box did shake during the big moments. It was impossible to hear anything. And I still remember, and Judd talks about it all the time. Judd back then and I were covering the team, me as a columnist, him as a beat writer for the Star Tribune. And we are sitting there during that timeout. And I looked down and I said, something's going on the sideline. And Judd said, oh my God, they're going to screw this up. And that's when the 12-man penalty, and then of course we know what happened there. So it does feel like the kind of place where anything could happen, anything has happened, and the Saints Vikings rivalry has really become something because of that.
Yeah, I mean it's been epic postseason clashes. 87 when the Vikings went into New Orleans on Wild Card Weekend and were heavy underdogs, and Anthony Carter went wild, and they win that game, and then they beat the Niners, and they go to the NFC title game. Then you have the 2009 game, which still, like, in terms of like ups and downs, twists and turns, harrowing moments. I mean, I don't know that there's been a game I've ever been in the middle of that has been that just compelling and like exhausting. You're just watching it, and so that was remarkable. Obviously the miracle game. They have had just these amazing moments against each other, and there's still that element of bad blood with the Bounty Gate stuff and all that. So all of the ingredients are there for what you would want in a playoff game. You want high stakes, you want hard feelings, you want just a lot of intensity, and I think there's going to be all of that and more next Sunday.
If you want to be a fatalist, and I know some Viking fans are,
no,
and some are for good reason, wouldn't this be the likely scenario? The Vikings take a lead. They sack Drew Brees and knock him out of the game just the way the Saints used to try to knock Brett Favre out. Teddy Bridgewater comes in and sticks the knife, and Mike Zimmer's guy beats Mike Zimmer.
That would absolutely, I think, line up with all of the theatrical endings and craziness that we've seen for sure. Yeah, I mean, he is their, I guess, ace in a hole, and I don't know that Sean Mannion does the same, has the same role for the Vikings after what we saw on Sunday against the Bears. So yeah, I mean, but I do think you definitely sense right now that most of the Viking faithful are like, well, this is not going to go well. Like, we're going down there, and the Saints have picked up speed and found their momentum, I think, late in the season. Kamara is rolling now again and all this, and we don't stand a chance. I am not of that group. I think the parity in the NFL leaves open the possibility that the Vikings could surprise and could play. I have not given up on them the way a lot of people have. That said, I understand the fatalism. I understand not trusting this team in particular to go into a hostile environment on a big stage and win a game. It's going to be incredibly daunting.
I'll tell you why I think this was the worst draw they could have had, at least in theory. I do want to thank Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com, just the most laid-back, friendly staff you will ever meet in a retail store. Great stuff. Again, I wear this stuff all the time, and I love it. I wanted to let you know that at Twill, our longtime sponsor, that's twillmn.com, Twill in the Edina Galleria, that you can save an extra 25% off already reduced prices on select seasonal items on New Year's Day. So go into Twill in the Edina Galleria on New Year's Day. You'll get an extra 25% off, already reduced prices. Twill usually doesn't have many sales because they sell their stuff, high-quality stuff. This is a rare opportunity to get in there and get a lot of clothes that I've been able to buy at a reduced price. Check it out. I think this is the worst draw for the Vikings because of the combination of Saints' home field advantage and struggling Vikings cornerbacks going up against the most intricate passing team in the NFC.
Yeah, I think that's all true. I mean, it's certainly, when you look at all of the possible outcomes, I would rather face Garoppolo. I would rather face even Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, who are
just so beat up.
Yeah, they're not quite what they were. I would rather face Aaron Rodgers, absolutely.
Yep.
Than Drew Brees in New Orleans right now with Michael Thomas and with Kamara and with all the weapons that they have. It does seem like they have a lot of strengths that really can exploit Vikings' weaknesses. There's no doubt about that. The other thing that you have concerns about is, I have kind of been slowly sort of transitioning my view of this team from defense first, ground and pound, win tight games, to looking more like a team that might have to win a game 31-30. And after what we saw from the Vikings against the Packers, I just don't know that you can expect this offense to erupt that way. I do think having Dalvin Cook back will make an enormous difference for sure. But that team that went into the 2009 title game knowing that they would have to outscore the Saints had all of the weapons, and Favre in his best year of his career, and Adrian Peterson and Percy Harvin and Rudolph and
Sidney Rice having his one great season.
Absolutely, or Shanko. It was Shanko. It was really good, and Sidney Rice, and they had the weapons, and they had an offensive line that could hang in against a fearsome. What we found out is overzealous Saints defense, but this one I just don't know. You saw the way that the offensive line was manhandled against Green Bay. I'm sure that the Saints, while maybe they don't have Zadarius Smith, they do have plenty of defensive talent that they're going to be able to throw at the Vikings. And I don't know if Cousins can rise to that occasion. I just don't know right now. Thielen doesn't seem like himself. There's a lot of questions about this offense. I think it can happen, but I think if they do it, I think they will rightly say that there was few that really believe that they could.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it the same way. I think they're going to have to score points against a pretty good defense in a very difficult circumstance. And you look at what the offense has actually done lately. Okay, yesterday doesn't count. Green Bay, 10 points at home. Chargers, the defense, that game was very much in doubt until the defense started destroying the Chargers and creating turnovers and scoring themselves. Detroit, 20 points at home against a bad team. Seattle, 30 points, but it was kind of a wild scramble comeback game. That's not the same thing as taking control of a game. Denver didn't start playing until you were desperately down at half. Dallas is the last game I would say the Vikings offense really took control of a game. And before that, it was very impressive performances against Philadelphia and Detroit, 38 and 42 points. But it's been a while since the offense has really felt like it was clicking.
Right, and I think a lot of that, there's two things that go into that. One, Thielen has been out for a lot of that, and two is Dalvin Cook got banged up and has not been what he was prior to the injury. Now, the question is that can he get back to, 90%? And will that kind of help to inject some much-needed electricity into this offense? I mean, maybe having 2 weeks off will help him with that. Maybe that will be exactly what he needs. And oftentimes I think we run into this trap with kind of viewing these players' bodies as just unbelievable gladiators, and you think, oh well, they played on Sunday, they don't play on Monday night, they got an extra day, everything's gonna be fine. Dalvin Cook had an extra week off, it's gonna be great. I don't know. I'm just not sure if they can somehow get that Dalvin back from the first 4 or 5 games. Yeah, then I think that changes the calculus some. But so far, I don't know that we've seen anything that says, yeah, that's an absolute realistic outcome here.
Great point, because we all kept saying, oh, Thielen's taking another week off, so he'll be fine. Or they have a bye week, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He ain't fine.
He's not fine.
He's not fine.
I mean,
there's no way a running back is going to be fine when you have 2 problematic shoulders.
Right.
Maybe he plays through it. Maybe he does something we end up calling heroic, but he's not going to be the same.
No. And what they need is all hands on deck, man, against these guys. So, Thielen, he has not been the same since he came back, and I get it. Look,
it's
he
not
was
his
out
fault.
for a long time.
It's just hard.
And hamstring injuries are difficult, but you're going to need probably 2 or 3 really good catches in traffic from Thielen. You're going to need Diggs to break open down the field, and you hit big play that way. And you're going to need Dalvin Cook to catch one of those swing passes and turn it into a 25 or 30-yard gain. And even more important, though, with Dalvin, you need him to do what he does so well, which is make the first guy miss and turn a 1-yard gain into 7. And to keep this offense from being behind schedule, because when they get to 3rd and long, they just have a hell of a time coming up with anything to keep the pressure off of Cousins and B, get something open down the field to make it happen. So they